everybody, and welcome back to Mel's Quirky Corner, the YouTube edition. So I've had a lot of requests for the moon phase and how to do it. So let's go ahead and just get into it. I got this, I believe, off Amazon. It is a moon phase silicone mold. And I am also going to be using these powders. I got them from Radioactive Glitter. I will add them in the comments. And so this one is called Neve, Iceland, Elsa, and North. All of these colors will have a color shift effect as soon as it has a background. So let's go and get into it. Move you guys over here. So this is stained due to a little issue I had with some alcohol inks, but I am just going to go in. I'm going to start with North. And you can see it's a white powder. And we're just going to start brushing this on. And this is called etching. And so we are etching the moons out so that they will stand out more. And if you have seen any of the completed ones, you understand kind of the difference by if I don't etch it and everything like that. So I usually will do about 3 moons per color. I've gotten pretty good at this because I've made about 100 of these moon trays. They are very, very popular. And I think it's because they're so pretty. So next color we're going to go in is with Elsa. And you can do this with any sort of pigment that you like. These are just the colors that my customer picked out. And you don't want too much, but you don't want too little. Like, you don't want it to just be sitting at the bottom of the moon, but you also don't want it to be too little to where you can't see it. Go ahead and turn this. And I'll get the outer edges of the moon as well. And it's okay for this one if it gets like over here, because this moon phase also has some little lines. So if you want, you can etch those out as well. Just a little bit here. And we are going to clean this up, so you don't have to be, obviously whatever gets somewhere that you don't want it to be, you will have to clean it up. But then we're going to go in with Iceland. Same thing. And you can make this as detailed or as little detailed as you want. This is just my preference, and this is what the customer had requested. But part of doing art is doing things that you want to do. So put your own spin and flair on it. Okay, and then our very last color is going to be the Neve. This one is more of a green. So the colors that I am using with the Iceland and Elsa and all of those have kind of a bluish purple to them. And then this Neve is a very nice kind of green color shift. And I try to get as much of the powder back on the brush to move it to the next moon, because I am all about saving as much product as I can. Okay. And you'll notice that I never changed the brush or anything, and that's because I do want some of the colors to shift in with the other as the moon goes around, because whenever the moon shifts, it still has part of the old moon with it. So that's my personal feeling on it. And then around the side of it, we are going to use this Pearl Pleasure Intense Color Shift, and this is IC6. This is going to be more of a purple bluish color, and then we are going to take this on the outer rim. And you can go up both sides of the circle if you want to. You also don't have to. Again, this is whatever is calling to you. Also, whenever you etch with powders this way, it is going to give more of a matte finish instead of a shiny finish. And so if you like that kind of shiny, almost wet look, this would not be, I wouldn't recommend this, just because it does give more of a matte finish, a very polished look to it. I'm just going around the outside. And I'm not going to fast forward or anything. I'm going to show you the entire process in real time, just so you have an idea about how long it takes, so that if you decide that you want to recreate this project, that you're not surprised by how long it takes. Okay. Now that we have that all done, next thing that we are going to do is etch out these lines in here. And for this one, I got this color from Itsy Bitsy Glitter, and this is SZW8183 pigment, and this has kind of the same effect when it comes to, you're not 100% sure what color it is until it hits that black base. We're also going to clean this up just a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to dip my brush right in there, and we're just going to come through. You can also do this with a Q-tip, a brush. Really, there's so many different ways that you can etch items out. You'll notice that I'm not being too clean or too delicate, and that's because we are going to clean it up afterwards. And again, everyone has their own way of doing this. This is just my personal way. If you find tips or tricks, whatever works for you. And my nose is running because I live in Colorado and our weather keeps going between either Iceland or it's a heat wave. And so my sinuses are like, my friend, what is happening? I am not sick. I am not contagious. It is just allergies and a whole bunch of dryness and then heat waves. And then snow. Okay, we are just about done here. And now we clean it. So to clean it, there are so many different ways that you can do it. My personal preference is to take a sponge and I will actually just push the pigment to the place, like the closest little line or something. And again, for this one, we're not doing it perfect. And by perfect, I just mean the customer wants to have it more of like a moonscape. She doesn't want it to be super clean lines and things like that. So now that we have this part done, we are going to go and put our resin into some warm water to get it crystal clear. I am using CC DIY. So I will be right back. Okay, y'all, so we are back. Our CC DIY had chilled. Well, I guess it actually got hot, but it sat in some water, so it is going to be easier to stir and to handle. So let's go ahead and get our gloves on. I use Microflex Midnight, these gloves here. I'll drop it down below. I get them off Amazon. They're sometimes hard to find due to COVID and everything, but I like these ones because they keep my hands protected and they are thick. So we are going to, I have already moved our piece back over here. Sorry that you guys just fell a little bit. I am still trying to learn how to do all of this. So as soon as we start to pour, I will go back to that, but I moved it over there so that it has a flat, safe place to cure overnight. So we are going to empty our cup from the night before, get it all cleaned out. Attempt to clean it out. Again, I'm doing all of this in real time so that you know about how long everything takes. Just that way you kind of know it's not a 10-minute thing. Okay, because I have made so many of these, I do know how much it takes. So we are going to do 150 milliliters of part A. So here's 100. I'll move you guys over here so you can watch this part of it. So here is 100. And let's do 50. Be sure that you scrape the sides and everything so that you can make sure that you do get the right amount of both A and B. And we're going to do the same thing for B. So here's 100. Let's do our 50. And you definitely want to make sure that you get enough of both, because otherwise your resin is not going to cure correctly. We're going to get this nastiness out of there. Okay. And now we are going to start the process of stirring. And again, you want to slowly stir this because you don't want to get bubbles. Make sure that you're scraping the bottom, make sure you're scraping the sides so that you can get it all incorporated. And again, I'm not going to speed this part up. So if you want to check back in about 3 to 5 minutes, you can go ahead and skip ahead in the video, but I just want to make this as real time as possible. And while you're stirring, you want to make sure that you are getting from the bottom and that you are just incorporating everything so that all of the parts are going to be mixed together. And what I will also do about 2 minutes in from stirring is I will transfer this to another container and then transfer it back in so that I get the stuff from the bottom and just make sure that I am not missing any parts that need to be mixed. Also, the CC DIY is the resin that I use for resin art. When it comes to tumblers, I only use the Art and Glow for that. And it's okay if you see some little bubbles start to form. It's just you don't want a ton of the micro bubbles because those are so hard to get out and they can just kind of ruin your piece. And you'll know that your resin is done because when you start to stir it, it will look murky and not very translucent, and then as you start to go, you can see that's looking a lot clearer, and so it'll start to look clear. Also, I have several pieces of resin to make, and so I'm going to make a rather large batch of resin today, just so that I can make sure that everything that I need to make is made while my CC DIY is nice and pliable. Okay, so we are going to pop this out. And then pour this back in here. Be sure that you scrape all of the sides, scrape the bottom so that you're not missing out on any resin. My house, we do not waste resin, so everything that we make will go to something. Okay, so we're gonna stir this a little bit more, and then we are going to let this one sit while we make the other one. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix the other one. For the other one, we are also going to do about 150. And remember that once you start to mix your resin, unless you have a fast set, you have about 45 minutes before it will start to cure, and you need to be done with whatever the project is in that 45 minutes. Otherwise, the resin can get hot and then you can get burned from it. So check on whatever type of resin that you're using on how long you have. And again, that's from when you start to mix A and B together. Also, be very careful when you're using resin because some of them can cause allergic reactions, some of them can cause respiratory distress. So if any of them have any warnings for eye or respiratory, you want to definitely make sure that you are wearing the correct PPE, whether that be face masks, whatever it may be. Just make sure that you are protecting yourself. Be in a well ventilated area, etc. The reason that I am not wearing any PPE besides the gloves is because the resins that I use do not have an odor to them, and they are safe to use without anything besides gloves. But just definitely make sure that you are protecting yourself when you use resin and epoxy, etc. I'm going to change gloves because these ones are getting a little bit slippery. We're gonna make a few different products today. One is, I will do different videos on them, so if you only want to see the moon phase, but I'm also going to be doing a skull ashtray, a sign that might offend some people, so I will be sure to censor it, just so that no one gets upset. These are all custom orders, and then later on today I will be working on some tumblers. I also have not forgotten that I need to post the video about water slides. The first one was taken down due to there being music in the background, and so I have to remake it with no music in the background. That's also why it's very silent in my house right now, is because I don't want YouTube to get upset with me again. So we're just gonna do the same thing of mixing. Mix for about 3 to 5 minutes until all of A and B are mixed in together. I also like to let the resin sit after I have mixed it because I can see that there's bubbles forming on the top, and so then I can hit it with some 91% isopropyl alcohol and pop those bubbles before I start to pour the item. And these wooden craft sticks I just get from the dollar store. I can get a pack of 75 of them for $1. I like the jumbo ones just because I usually won't mix a little portion of resin. I usually mix quite a bit because a lot of my projects are a lot larger. So it's just easier to do it this way. Your hand will also start to cramp. That is normal. Okay, so as you can see, there are some bubbles up here. So I'm going to take my spray bottle, spray that down, stir it again. This is the first resin that we had made. Okay, and then we're going to mix it. For this, we are going to do a black, midnight black with some glitter. So here's the glitter. I got that. It's a custom mix that I made. It does have some black from Itsy Bitsy glitter, and then it has some moon and stars in it as well. So get our cup. These cups I got off of Amazon. I got 300 of them for, I think, like $13. I will link it in the comments. And then I am going to be using Decor Room Black Mica Powder. Also off Amazon. I will link it as well. I just noticed that this is way too full to put the glitter and mica powder in together. So we are going to pour a little bit of that back in there. And I will take another mixing stick, do a pretty heaping fullness of that, and then quite a bit of glitter. And then start mixing it. You want to make sure that you have all of your mica and all of your glitter dispersed evenly throughout the resin. I don't want this to be too glittery, but I also don't want it to not have a lot of glitter. So to me, this is perfect. Has just enough of a shine to it, but it won't overpower the design as well. So now we are going to pour it onto our moon phase. Spread this out. And the reason I put this on the flat surface and moved it ahead of time is because I don't want to shift this too much after we start to pour the resin on it. Okay, so now that we had that first mix, we're going to go ahead and mix the rest of our resin with the black mica and the black glitter. And remember, this was 300 milliliters. And put that one over there. Add some glitter. Add some more mica. Stir, stir, stir. Get any parts that you missed the first pour, and be sure that you give that cup a good scrape. You want no resin left behind. And spread it like you're spreading frosting onto a cake, is how I explain it. Make sure there's no spot that is missing any resin and that it all looks like it's about the same length, or thickness, I'm sorry. Like I said, no resin left behind. Okay. So that is our moon phase. It will take 24 hours to cure, and we are also going to hit this with some alcohol, get those bubbles out, and we will just kind of, we will wait until tomorrow to demold it. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and we will demold this tomorrow, and I will post a video of that as well. Thank you guys for joining me again on my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and shoot me a like if you like what you see. Thank you again. Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are mixing up some resin. Check out the video of the moon phase that we just did. And I am just mixing up the rest of the resin so that we can make a few other things. And I'm gonna pour this like we did in the last video. Go ahead and pour into here. Make sure that you get it very nicely mixed and incorporated together. Okay, and back in here. And these are the last two projects I'm working on today, so I believe that I have enough resin. If I don't, I will make some more, but I believe that I have enough for what we're making. Okay, so we are going to finish stirring this. And the item that I am making is a skull ashtray, which I have already put the mica powder to etch it here. And so we are going to be doing black with this one as well. And we are not going to be doing glitter because I know not everyone loves glitter as much as I do. So this one is just going to be a flat black. And like the last video, we did spray this with alcohol, get some of those bubbles out. I'm not going to fill it all the way up because I know that I sometimes fill too much. And again, this is the same, our decor room black mica powder. Got this off of Amazon. Do a very good heaping amount in there because it is a large amount of resin. Make sure that all of your mica powder and resin are incorporated together. You want them to be best friends, and you don't want any to be left out. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and pour this. This again is that ashtray. So it looks like we need just a little bit more. So we will empty the rest of our mixture into here. A little bit more of the mica powder. Give that a nice stir again. And then we're gonna finish pouring. Especially in items like this that have a lot of nooks and crannies, you want to make sure that the resin is all the way into each nook and cranny so that when you demold it, you're not sad because it didn't go everywhere that you wanted it to. So we have that there. We are going to hit it with our 91% alcohol. And now that my thing's gonna stop working. Okay, and so I usually let these sit for 24 hours, and then I'm also going to check back on it here in a little bit later today. And for anyone wondering, that was 300 milliliters that we used of part A and part B, so 150 of each. And so I will check on this later today. If I have any more bubbles form, then I will hit it with some more alcohol. Other than that, we'll demold it tomorrow. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and we will demold it tomorrow. Have a great day.